Scapular shrugs. The scapula sets the stage for the entire upper body. Your shoulder blades need to be able to move freely in all directions for shoulder health and performance. A shrug is a straight arm exercise that isolates scapular movement. Shrugs work your trapezius and serratus anterior muscles. Your upper trap elevates or pulls up your scapula. Your mid trap retracts or pulls back your scapula. Your low trap depresses or pulls down your scapula, and your serratus anterior protracts or pushes away your scapula. Here's a bodyweight shrug stack. 1. Pull-up shrugs. 2. Dip shrugs. 3. Row shrugs. And 4. Push-up shrugs. Here's a dumbbell shrug stack to strengthen each side independently. 1. Dumbbell one-arm scap presses. 2. Dumbbell one-arm scap rows. And 3. Dumbbell one-arm overhead shrugs. I love stacking all these moves back to back for 10 reps each. It's a perfect warm-up or off-day recovery routine. Your upper body will only go as far as your scapula will take it, so don't neglect these corrective exercises. If you struggle with these moves, start with 50 to 100 reps of band scap presses to get you started. Band face pulls. If I had to pick just one exercise to bulletproof the shoulders and improve posture, it would be the face pull. When done properly, it smokes all of the key muscles of the upper mid-back and rear delts, plus it fortifies the delicate rotator cuff. Though this exercise is typically performed on a cable machine, I use a unique band setup at home. Attach one band to an anchor point that's slightly above head level. Loop another band through it and grab one end in each hand. I prefer to loop it around my wrists to prevent over-gripping and excessive elbow flexion. Pull the band apart until your arms form a rear double biceps pose. Be sure to lead with your hands, not your elbows. Your grip should twist from overhand to palms facing to strengthen the external rotators. Crack a nut between your shoulder blades for a count or two and return to the starting position. Sets of 10 to 15 reps are ideal. A simple substitute is band pull-aparts. It can be performed both overhand and underhand. Make it harder by hinging at the hips like a bent-over row so your arms work against gravity. 50 to 100 reps per day keeps the doctor away. Carries. The carry or farmer's walk is a full-body core exercise, but if you can't grip it, you can't lift it. That's why it's listed in the upper category. As the load and time under tension grows on this exercise, so will your entire upper body. The key to getting the most out of this drill is to keep the weights away from your thighs and sustain an active rear delt contraction throughout. Go slow and keep your knees soft and toes pointing forward as if taking a sobriety test. There are 3 key holding positions from easiest to hardest: hip level, shoulder level, and overhead. In terms of loading, you should be able to carry at least twice the weight at hip level that you can overhead. I love doing level change drop sets where I start with overhead carries for a minute, then drop to shoulder level for a minute, and finish with hip level for another minute. To increase core and hip activation, work in single arm variations. An awesome starter or finisher is to do a minute on each arm back to back for 10 straight minutes. Rows. The bodyweight row, often called a reverse push-up or horizontal pull-up, works the entire backside of the body. It's also a key stepping stone exercise to pull-ups. It can be done with parallel bars or gymnastics rings. The progression with parallel bars is knees bent to legs straight to feet elevated. When using gymnastics rings, the exercise is hardest the flatter you are to the floor. This exercise can also be performed with dumbbells to work each arm independently and strengthen imbalances between sides. Chest-supported rows are a great way to isolate the movement and take stress off the lower back. My favorite way to teach the row is on all fours, as it auto-corrects your form and technique and requires no equipment. Try the bird dog row for the best back, abs, and shoulders workout you're not doing. Once competent and mobile enough, you can try dumbbell rows on your feet. Try to get your trunk parallel to the floor. Pull the weight towards your hips. Your arms should form a 90-degree angle at the top of the move. The upright row is another great shoulder and back builder. Just go light and don't pull the weight higher than chest level. Push-ups. The push-up is another total body abs exercise, but it primarily targets the chest, front delts, and triceps. It's also a key stepping stone exercise to the dip. A wider grip stresses the chest more. A closer grip makes the triceps work harder. Use the classic body angle progression for push-up mastery. Hands elevated, to floor, to feet elevated, to piked. But even advanced trainees benefit from using all angles because they stress different muscles. Hands elevated hits the lower pecs. Floor hits the mid pecs. Feet elevated hits the upper pecs, and piked stresses the shoulders most. One of my all-time favorite workouts is a mechanical change drop set where you do max reps of each variation with little to no rest, going from the hardest to easiest variation. If you're struggling with push-ups, start with eccentric only reps where you lower from the toes and cheat up on the knees. You can also use bands to assist or resist. If your wrists bother you, use dumbbells or parallel bars, which also extend the range of motion. Oh yeah, be sure to mobilize your wrists too. Pull-ups. The pull-up is the ultimate upper body exercise. It's also the hardest for a few reasons. 1, it involves all of your body weight. 2, your arms are overhead. This extreme joint angle challenges your mobility and stability to the max. Plus, it creates a natural blood flow restriction effect since oxygenated blood has to travel upwards against gravity. But the bodybuilding benefits are off the charts. There are 3 primary ways to help you build up to perfect pull-ups. 1, use band assistance, which helps you the most out of the bottom position. 2, use self-assistance from your lower body. 3, do eccentric only reps where you cheat up and then slowly lower for 3 to 5 seconds. I recommend mixing between all 3 for best results. In terms of grip, you're strongest with an underhand grip due to maximum biceps contribution. The hammer grip puts your joints in a very safe neutral position and stresses the brachialis muscle more, which is sandwiched between the biceps and triceps. The overhand grip is super challenging because it requires the most mobility and stability to pull off. I love doing self-assisted pull-ups for 2 to 3 minute sets to maximize the mind-muscle connection. The pump is precious. Mix your grip for best results. Dips. The dip is the king of chest and triceps exercises, and if you perform it properly, it also smokes the rear shoulders and upper back. Like the pull-up, it's an extreme joint angle exercise except your shoulder is an extension instead of flexion. Just like with push-ups, keep your forearm vertical to the floor to get the most out of this exercise and take pressure off the elbows. There are 3 primary ways to help you build up to perfect dips. 1, use band assistance, which helps you the most out of the bottom position. 2, use self-assistance with your lower body. 3, do eccentric only reps where you cheat up and then slowly lower for 3 to 5 seconds. I recommend mixing between all 3 for best results. Though some fitness experts say to never do off-bench dips, I think it's an excellent exercise if you have the hip and shoulder mobility to do it pain-free. It's easier to do than the parallel bar dips, and it stresses the triceps more than the chest. Progress from knees bent to legs straight to feet elevated. I love to do max reps parallel dips, immediately followed by off-bench dips for an epic pump and burn. Presses. Consider presses to be the open chain companion of the closed chain push-up. Because your hands move independently in free space, presses increase the stability and mobility demands and strengthen each arm independently. Like with push-ups, keep your elbows at a 30 to 45 degree angle from your trunk to protect your shoulders. Be sure to press from every angle for best results. Incline presses hit your upper pecs. Flat presses hit your mid pecs. Decline presses hit your lower pecs. Overhead presses are the weakest position and it stresses your shoulders the most. You're typically twice as strong pressing horizontally versus vertically. Try my multi-angle pressing drop sets workout. Do 8 to 12 or max reps overhead presses and repeat for incline, flat, and decline presses using the same weight with no more than 20 seconds of rest between moves. It's an incredible workout you can get done in 5 minutes or less. The floor press is not only a great way to build the top of your press, but it doesn't require a bench and it's easy on the shoulders. Add a band to get peak tension and peak chest and triceps contraction. Biceps curls. It's important to prioritize multi-joint compound exercises over single joint isolation exercises, especially when you're short on time. But there's nothing wrong with some dedicated work for the elbow joint. Not only will this maximize muscular development, but bigger and stronger biceps will make you better at all pulling exercises. Plus, they're fun and easy to recover from. There are 3 main grips to choose from. Overhand is the weakest position because the biceps can't assist as much, so the forearms lift most of the burden. Underhand maximizes biceps activation and requires the most mobility to perform since your shoulders are externally rotated. Hammer grip tends to be the strongest position and targets the brachialis. My favorite biceps workout is stacking 8 to 12 or max reps of each grip in the following order: overhand, underhand, and hammer grip. I also love to mix in bands because you get peak tension and peak biceps contraction, where the middle position at a 90-degree angle is the hardest with dumbbells. Performing dumbbell curls bent over fixes that and also builds your backside. Triceps extensions. Though the triceps get a ton of work from presses, dips, and push-ups, it's still important to isolate them for best results. For one, they comprise approximately 2/3 of your upper arm mass, so they have the biggest overall impact on arm size. In addition, the meaty long head of the upper arm is preferentially targeted by doing elbow extensions with the arms overhead because it attaches into the scapula. Triceps extensions can be done 3 main ways in order of difficulty: overhead tricep extensions, lying triceps extensions, and triceps pushdowns. Use bands at a faster tempo to maximize the contraction phase. Use dumbbells at a slower tempo to maximize the stretch phase. I recommend going lighter for 10 to 15 plus reps for these moves since you get plenty of heavier work with multi-joint pushing moves. Focus first and foremost on range of motion. My favorite triceps workout stacks these 3 moves in a row from hardest to easiest for a fast and furious finisher. If you suffer from elbow pain, consider starting or ending your workout with 50 to 100 triceps pushdowns in as few sets as possible. Bands are easier on the joints and require less recovery time.